all over, all over the world.
Hello and welcome to another costume review. Yes, this one. This is one of my two inflatable kangaroos, but I need to tell you about two things. One, first of all, is sorry if the quality is still a bit iffy. I am still getting used to this, this camera. In fact, it might not even be in full frame. This is one of two of the costumes I've ever been scammed in. Scammed of. It wasn't like, didn't get scammed by wearing the costume itself and then get scammed afterwards. No, I meant, I bought this. I was buying the adult version. The adult version. This of me, my head poking out of the little kangaroo, right? The little one. The little one is like, well, the adult one, right? Is well, there is no, the little kangaroo has its head, and you more look out just about by the what would you say, the muzzle of the kangaroo, or nuzzle? I don't know. However, but the nose, right? You would look out through the nose, and even though I bought that version and it was advertised as that version, as soon as I bought it, and as it just about was about to show up at my door, that's when on their store page they changed it to go like, no, we're not selling the adult version anymore. And sure enough, when I got my version, this was it. It was the child version, which is like, well, even though it is meant to be the child version, I guess they've made the child version slightly more adult size. I don't know what was going on with this kind of scam or costume or whatever they were doing. But yes, so I didn't really want this costume, at least this version of it. But I've made, I did get my money back, so this is now technically a free costume because I got a full refund out of this. Like I said, it's not the version I wanted, but like I said, funny enough, I got a costume that's kind of like this anyways. So I've now got a kind of two costumes that are similar, and that costume review is actually going to be later in this month as well. So we're going to have two kangaroo costumes from February. But yeah, this kangaroo costume has got a bit of a glove, but it's one of those which I can do it by single hand. I probably can't because it's my hand is quite trapped. Yeah, my hand's a bit trapped with it. I might have to do two hands. It's a bit tight. No, it's too tight. I can't get my hand down. So like I said, it's one of those which is like, you could put your hand through the glove, or you could have your hand just freely out. For the rest of the view, I'm gonna have it a bit like that, just for a little while. Actually, no. But yeah, there is like no kind of grip, and it's quite small, the glove. So like, I'm just like stretching out my fingers, and it feels quite tight. It's like, oh, there's not much room, and because there's so little like surrounding room as well, it's like it really is restrictive. All right, basically, wouldn't be able to grab things very well, and as you saw, even like trying to do it by one hand to get the hand out of this, not doable. In other costumes, yeah, but this costume, no. But yeah, it's got a kind of padded detail. As you see, it's got quite the legs. So hey, it kind of needs to be because it's a kangaroo. Right, I'm probably going to have to boost the audio for this section. But unlike my other inflatable kangaroo, which, like I said, I will show you later in the month. But yeah, unlike that one, I can actually have a bit more puppetability. Like, actually, I'm going to do it really quick because, of course, the air is going to escape from the arms, right? But like I said, if you can mod the arms to be more shut, then yeah, you'll probably be able to do this all the time. But here we go. 3, 2, 1. I can pop it behind. So it's like, yeah. It probably looks so stupid, but you know, that's the kind of joy of these costumes. Oh. And I'm also going to do this, and I can put my arm above my head and kind of pop it the head a bit, which is like, again, just like my other inflatable kangaroo, which you eventually see, even though it looks far better and all that. Can't really do this. I can't do stuff like this, but I haven't had much practice, so I think, yeah, that's the ear in it, yeah, that's the ear. I haven't had much practice in this one because I've wore it a few times, and then I was a bit, you know, I was a bit like, yeah, I'm grumpy still about it because it was like, you know, it was still a bit recent. Is that, yeah, that, because you can kind of pop it, you kind of have to do it like a big bird. But basically with this costume you kind of have to treat it like the famous Muppet Big Bird, where, you know, actually I can get my hand through, like I said, I'm not going to use this for now, because like, I'll put it back in the end, but you know, it's a bit like Big Bird with your hands up above your head. That's the only way to pop it in. Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen. Oh. 3, 2, 1. And it's got a quite nice tail though. I would say that might be the best bit of this inflatable costume. This might be the best bit of this inflatable kangaroo, because even my better designed and detailed one, which is a bit more like sweet and that, right? And this is also quite larger than this one. But yeah, it doesn't have a tail like that. And I'd say that's a nice designed curved tail for it. Actually, what I should be doing, right, I'm going to put it on. Well, I'm not going to put it on fully, but you know, try to hide my skin, which is going to show. But really, I should be doing this, shouldn't I? Because it's a kangaroo. Right, the last thing I will talk about before we go into the deep dive section. I find this design, well, a little surprising, but I'm also more like, wow, actually, that kind of makes it more worth it. And you know how kangaroos, they have a pouch, you know, right? Well, on the inside, they actually did give a large pouch inside. Like I know it's not. I know usually when they sort of like design like little chambers or like little lines to help, you know, stabilize the design and make it, you know, the way it should be, right? And usually sometimes that causes a little less like able to puppet it around, like maybe like the eye or something is in the way. But with this one, like I said, they have just designed like a pouch. Like I said, I don't see it really doing the job that normal inflatable costumes do. So they've just put that there for no reason other than to go, hey, you're a kangaroo. I mean, you're wearing a kangaroo, right? Well, why don't you have your own large pouch? And like I said, it is on the inside. It's not on the outside. It's inside. But like I said, it is large, and you will see it in the inside bit in a second. So like I said, it will be a little hard. But yeah, like I said, even though I got a bit scammed, I will admit that this wasn't a too bad inflatable costume after all. So like I said, I'm still disappointed that it's not the version I wanted, where you know my face is more hidden, so it brings the character and the immersion more to life, you know. And plus the fact I've already got, like I said, I've already got an inflatable kangaroo costume that is kind of like this as well. Yeah, like I said, even though I got a bit scammed, it was alright, you know. Like I said, like, you know, you look at this and you're like, it's decent, but it's not, it could have been far greater, you know, especially if I had the, you know, the adult version I wanted. But, oh well. Right, welcome to the semi-quick deep dive. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to show this first, is like I said, the actual pouch pocket. Like I said, this doesn't look like it would actually, cause, you know, would actually help with the structure wise to give the shape. So like I said, this really has just been added just for, you know, kind of more functionality. And like I said, it is quite big. You can really fit lots of things in there. Like really, it's quite big. Also, I'm having to kind of hold all the holes because, like I said, it is easier when there's two holes, and I can record inside the costumes. But because this has got a big hole for the head, I'm having to have to scrunch it with one hand. There is the head, and then the little eye, and that is where the ears are up there. Like I said, that's what I felt. Like I said, I still need to get more familiar with like this. I can probably feel all those seams there to gather like that's where the mouth is. But like I said, I still need a bit of practice to like know where things are. Something I forgot to talk about, which I'm probably going to talk about in the review as well, because it is quite a bit of a con, is yeah, the legs are massive, but like I said, they're kind of designed that to kind of give, oh no, what? Well, my fan just gave. Problem sorted. I guess the wire to the box is a little broken. Oh well, I do have many boxes and fans and all that, but I guess this one I've used it so much that it's starting to the wire's starting to go, oh, I'm breaking inside now with all the times I'm kind of bending and what such. But so anyway, to finish the deep dive, they have added a bit of a black zipper at the back of your neck when you put your head through. Like I said, I'm having to scrunch it to, you know, keep it inflate, so I can give you quite a decent look of what it looks like when it's, you know, inflated inside of it. But I will say this is slightly pointless. I say slightly because they've done like, you know, the elastic ring, so even if you're stretching the elastic ring, this is not going to do anything. it may do a little, but honestly, you know, this is not going to do anything. All right, even if you open this up, you're just adding a bit of a hole for the air to escape. So I have no idea why this was added at all. And then, like I said, the arms, like I said, I'm having to hold the arms, but that's where you go the arms. And then, hold on, I'm doing it upside down for you, because to me that is right, but there we go. And then, just not too far away from your legs is the tail. They've done a very nice circle, and like I said, the tail is really bendy. Actually, oh yeah, I've now just remembered what I was talking about before the fan gave. The legs, like I said, they're pretty big, but like I said, they're designed so it's like a, you know, the kangaroo's like in a look state of like their knees are about to jump, you know. But as you can see, they are massive. It's like my knees there, and there's still so much of the leg before it goes. There we go. You know, it curves and finally comes back around. But yeah, it is massive, very massive. And they probably shouldn't have done it that big, because yeah, I will say that is quite a problem with, like, you know, kind of walking around, because I can even, you know, I can't really see where I'm going, but hold on, That's the wall. I found the wall by the tail. The tail has told me that there's a wall there. But yeah, I can walk a bit forward. But yeah, as you can see, it's like it feels a little restrictive because of the so like big legs. If I do more of a waddle, it feels more better. But then again, I'm kind of more spreading my legs out. So for a long wear session, you're probably going to eventually start feeling it in your legs. Of course, if you walk more normal, like I said, there's a bit of a resistance in your walk. And as you can see, they have with this zipper, with this zipper handle, they have done a double zip. So there's that on the other side, except for they've done this at the top. So I don't know why, because you can't really unzip it from here. Like I said, there is a bit of backwards design in some of this stuff. It's like, what were they thinking? It's like, if they remove that, I can probably, unzip it from the inside, unzip it from the inside, and even like zip it up from the inside, so I don't have to get my hand out to do it. And they've also done it. Focus, please. They've also done it at the bottom as well, as you can see. Luckily, that has a bit more purpose down there, because of course, if you zip it all the way, it's gonna have like little problems. But at least that has a bit more function, and that one is just hindering the function. For pros, as said, this costume has that very large pouch inside, and I would say it's so big that you could probably have a small laundry basket with you as you walk in this costume. I have told you, it is quite large. I don't think the footage that I've shown really gives it justice how large and wide it is, but it really is quite a big pouch that you could probably put a couple things in. I don't know how strong it will be, but Also, the head can be a bit puppetable, while I would say it would be a bit tricky for some. Because like I said, you do have to raise your whole arm and your hand over your head to be able to puppet it. Now for cons. Gloves are too small. As told, my hands in them feel quite tight, there's hardly any room in there to do really anything. You're just kind of having to have like all your fingers and like thumb close together, and you really can't stretch them out or anything. Like I said, and so it's also hard to properly grab things in these gloves because of that. So yeah, like I said, the gloves really needed to at least have a bit more room, extend forward or something to give it a little bit more room, at least in some way, either wider or length would have done these gloves a bit more justice in terms of it being better than what it is. Walking is a bit restrictive as well, unless you spread your legs out a bit more apart from how you would normally walk, of course. This is of course mainly due to the knees of this suit being excessively large, where these big knees are rubbing against each other, and you can really feel the resistance, and it kind of does stop you from walking as effortlessly as you would. Now this one is quite a more minor con, but it's still one of those spotlights where I feel like it's still worth to still point this out in the review section, and that is, but yeah, this would be probably far more cuter with an actual kid's heads in there rather than my head there. But but I can totally still see this being like a silly costume day with the boys, kind of like costume outing, where all of you are in all different weird costumes and stuff. I definitely could see this being a little bit of a fun night out, but yeah, I still think it's just a little off-putting. Because like I said, it really is definitely more designed. It is more kid focused, this one, rather than the adult version I wanted. Now the score. I am going to give this a 3 out of 10. The reason for the 3 out of 10 and not a 2 out of 10. I was kind of more thinking maybe it's just about in the 2 out of 10 range. But I thought, well, there is still a bit of goodness to this costume, more to give it another point to the score system. Because yeah, like I said, the large pouch, you can definitely still puppet it.
and you know, it's not a overly bad costume, but it's still not super great, you know. But it's definitely, I would definitely say it's just a kind of like it's a 3 out of 10, you know. It's kind of good, but there is still quite a bit of bad within.
Well, there you go. That was this inflatable kangaroo costume. If the inflatable kangaroo, the other inflatable kangaroo video is already out, be sure to do that eye icon over there, which should have popped up now. For any other videos, you know, probably stick around and get to the end card moment, and maybe YouTube might recommend you a video that it thinks you would like more from me, or probably even just the most recent video, which is whatever it is. You know, I wouldn't know because it's too much in the future. Anyways, that is all. Hope to see you in whatever video that may be. Oh, it's come loose again. Like I said, it's too small. I'm gonna do it like this. Bye bye.